Hi everyone, this is D Keys, bringing you an Elementalist's guide to the Swampland Fractal. Head south to activate the first event, in which you'll return 3 wisps to these stumps at the southern edge of this room. The locations of these wisps are randomized for each attempt, so you can always reset if you don't like what you get. However, I'll show you how to run all of them on an Elementalist. If there is a clear path to your wisp, take it. If there is no clear path in the first wall, you can hook jump around the roots covering the first opening. Similarly, if the north wall is closed off, locate this large stump to the left of the central opening. There is a root on the left side of this stump that you can easily jump up to get across to the northernmost wisps. Staff is a reasonable weapon to use while running wisps because of its swiftness. However, an offhand focus with Signet of Air is also useful in situations where you'll have to grab a wisp through enemies. You will also want a stun break and some condition removal. For the left wisp, de-aggro on the roots to the south, wait for your party mates outside of the red circle around the wisp, use obsidian flesh if a skelk aggroes or if that red circle pops up just as you're about to grab the wisp, and then return to the south using the roots to get back to the stump. Watch out for other traps along the way. For the top left wisp, which is surrounded by skelk, wait on this rock that is to the southeast of the wisp. Use obsidian flesh and run in to grab the wisp as your party mates are counting down, and then head south to a route that will get you over the wall. Hop up this route, and then you'll proceed next to the left wisp spawn location and take another route to get back to the stumps. For the top central wisp, de-aggro on a rock to the left of the wisp if you happen to catch the attention of Mossman or any skelks. Get in position and stack swiftness if you wish, then head towards the same root jumps as you use for the top left wisp. Be ready to use your stun break if you happen to be caught by one of the tripwire traps. For the top right wisp, I recommend using lightning flash. Stack swiftness as your group is counting down, grab the wisp, and then aim lightning flash across the 2 rows of traps that surround this wisp. If there are no openings in the north wall, hop up a route to the left of the central opening of the wall and head back to the stumps as quickly as possible, as there are binding roots that can catch you and then immobilize you. The right wisp, which is guarded by a champion drake, is one of the easiest ones to get. Wait behind a burrow near the wisp, and then pop obsidian flesh and run in as your party mates are counting down. Grab the wisp and head back to the stumps, using a root jump to the right of the central opening if that happens to close on your way. The bottom right wisp is in a spider's nest. Use the rocks on the left side of this nest to jump up to the wisp without disturbing any of the spider eggs. I recommend having lightning flash and condition removal ready for this wisp. Stack swiftness as your party mates are counting down and grab the wisp. Then approach the spider eggs without breaking any of them, and aim your lightning flash so that you can get out of the spider's nest also without breaking any eggs. If you break an egg, you will be poisoned and put into combat. If you use the opening to the left of the spider's nest, hug the left wall so that you avoid the tripwires. There are 2 potential bosses for this fractal. The first, Bloomhunger, is relatively easy, so I would recommend a full DPS setup. Both Scepter, Hammer, and Dagger Focus setups are appropriate here, as they both maintain might stacks. If using Dagger Focus, Frostbow is an appropriate utility to use here, as Bloomhunger has a relatively large hitbox. Stack might before engaging, and if you're using Lightning Hammer, summon the extra one next to Bloomhunger so that it's easy to reach. You will want to stay near Bloomhunger's back so that when he does his Agony Barrage attack, there will be fewer circles for you to avoid. You'll also want to keep up reflects with the rest of your party if you have an offhand focus for his other attacks, including the Binding Roots and the Poison Cloud. You will also want to watch out for the storm spirit that Bloomhunger sometimes summons. This will give him retaliation, which will eat through a lot of your health very quickly. I prefer Glyph of Elementals for this fight, as I have a tendency to end up in AoE circles at the end of my fiery greatsword attacks. Mossman is the other potential boss for this fractal, and is quite a bit more difficult. I would recommend a dagger focus setup with a sigil of energy, especially if you do not have vigor in your traits. I use Glyph of Elemental Power in this fight, casting it in Earth Attunement so that I can keep Cripple up on Mossman so that my party mates can kite him around in max melee range. Take only as many offensive utilities as you're comfortable with, and if you would like defensive utilities, I would recommend Arcane Shield and Mist Form. I recommend Arcane Brilliance or Signet of Restoration for this fight, as you won't have enough time to get a full channel of Ether Renewal off. I recommend Glyph of Elementals as an elite for low levels of this fight, because the Earth Elemental can hold aggro while you and your party mates safely DPS. At high levels, the Elementals don't dodge the Agony Axes, and will cause them to bounce off of them to your party mates, dealing everyone quite a bit of damage. Chain Swirling Winds with your party's other projectile reflects. This will reduce the number of people that are hit by Mossman's bouncing Agony Axe attack. While all of Mossman's attacks hit an Elementalist for a decent chunk of their health pool, you want to be especially careful of Mossman's charge attack. Mossman will gain a leafy aura and then teleport to a party member, doing a double chop animation. Dodge when you see his axes up in the air if you are anywhere within 300 range of this attack. If Mossman turns to you or a party mate and throws an axe, and you do not see enough reflects up, dodge. If Mossman is aggroed onto you, kite him backwards through any reflects that are up, and use all of the range that your Lightning Whip gives you so that you can avoid his melee attacks. When he is not aggroed onto you, do your best to maintain a might stacking rotation outside of melee range, and keep Glyph of Elemental Power cast in Earth Attunement so that you can keep Cripple up on him to help your allies. If you are downed in this fight, try to rally off one of the wolves that Mossman will summon. However, he does have a tendency to camp a body. Mist forming and escaping into the water is risky now because sometimes the skulks will aggro onto you. If a party mate is downed, first look for a wolf to help them rally off and DPS it down. If none are available, swap to Earth Attunement and use Magnetic Wave and Obsidian Flesh to safely res. If Mossman enters one of his beast forms, auto-attack in Water Attunement so that you can make use of its 900 range, but swap to Earth Attunement to refresh Glyph of Elemental Power whenever it's available. Be ready to dodge if he lunges towards you, as he can combo you from full health to full dead. And that's it for the Swampland Fractal. Thanks for watching!